one of my guys in Chicago. His father, at 56, fell 7 stories to his death, fixing the fire escape. So, you know, these things are just as dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, you can hurt yourself, and this thing will collapse on you. So that's why when you're fixing fire escapes, there's a phase one. Phase one is make it certified, make it functional, just so your men can work safely on it. Phase 2 is when you make it certifiable, and phase 3, you gotta give it a nice paint job. So everybody uses this, everybody needs this. Some things, you've seen extractions out of buildings where they use the fire escape, not the front door. Happens, so paramedics need it, firemen need it, people use it to get themselves out. That's what a fire escape is. It's an egress. It's a self-egress. You know what I'm saying? Nobody needs to walk you down the front stairs. Nobody needs to walk you down the back stairs. You use it and then go away and let the firemen come in, and the firemen need to use it to get back into your building and fight certain fires and get people that have passed out. As I said before, it's the new hangout. Fire escapes. During COVID, where do you think everybody was hanging? Couldn't go anywhere. So fire escapes now are something that, you know, people are barbecuing out there. People are singing off of fire escapes. I don't know if you guys saw, you know, all over the world, there's people singing on balconies and what? They found out that they could use it. You know what I'm saying? Fire escape is ready to be. You can't really tell people not ever to be on a fire escape because it's ready for instant use at all times. You can put it on your lease that you can't go out there, but fire escapes are made for anybody, including a thief. If a thief goes up your fire escape and he gets hurt, it's on you. He was just thieving, but you caused the accident by not maintaining the fire escape. It's crazy. So people are taking pictures. Imagine that wedding party right there that you can see. You know what I'm saying? Imagine a fire escape collapse during your wedding party. And again, people who are smokers, these are what college students are doing in Boston every year. They get somewhere near the window, out the window, to have a smoke. Not to do homework. I haven't seen homework being done on the fire escape yet. All right, so let's talk about wood structures. The code is very clear. All exterior steel or wooden stairways, fire escapes, egress balconies. Fire escapes at the end. All exterior steel or wooden stairways must be certified under the 1103. So one of the big things that we deal with a lot is redding. Redding is like all over wood. Every wood structure must be certified. How do you certify something that's made with PT, has a lifespan of 25 years on the average PT, must be fully replaced based on the PT, you know, scale of reliability. And on average, if you keep really good care, you seal all the seams and all the connections, you can get 35 years out of it, pressure treated. So all this must be replaced 25 to 35 years from now. I've got structures that are 50 years, 75. So how do you load test a wood structure? We don't. What you do is you reinforce it. So where there used to be nails, and not many people know that, nails and screws that are untreated get eaten by the PT chemicals, first of all. And then as freeze and thaw comes along and it opens up just so slightly, water through freeze and thaw eats the metal, the nails. So we gotta Frankenstein these things. And how do you Frankenstein it? You basically go to Home Depot and they sell every corner, every strap, everything you need to give this thing another 5, maybe 10 years. And then guess what you gotta do? You gotta replace it. It's not gonna go forever. These straps will buy you, these metal gussets will buy you 5 years. Unless it's a newer system, you know what I'm saying? But if your city is enforcing load testing, okay? So Reading, we've seen them just constantly. I think every wood structure in Reading is done. Is that correct, guys? Not done, meaning it's always on your list, right? So it's in the code. This is in over here towards Worcester. I went to a penitentiary or a detention center for juveniles, and this is the area, the rec yard. Okay, the rec yard was where everybody came out of that door. But then if you looked underneath, this is what I found when I looked underneath. So it's bad enough you're in jail. It's another thing when the treads give way. And that was the only way in and out of that wreck area. So we see this all the time. What people don't understand is that and I have some examples of it here. It's hard to see from where you're out. When you have something that used to be together, and somehow it's now ½ inch apart, stretched. So what happens is the bolt, which you may or may not be able to see here, is only a 1/16. This is a 3/8 bolt that has rotted down to a 16, compressed in rust. And all that needs to do now is you to hit it the right way, whether you're a tenant or a fireman, trying to save that tenant. And that's what drops these treads. So when we go out and inspect fire escapes, okay, but one thing we have to do is we have to do a hammer test. As soon as we identify a tread that has this much rust, look at that, ½ inch of rust. And we still have to walk all the way up to the top. So inspections is from the ground to the top, write a 25-point questionnaire report, okay? So we get there, see heavy rust build up, 50, and again, that's 50 to 75 years that nobody did anything on that because it's all original square head bolts. And the client thinks they're going to get a certification, which they got the year before because they bought the paper. Especially in Boston, you know how much paper you can buy? You can buy a certification, because it's just a piece of paper that says, to the best of my information, knowledge, and belief, the fire escape is in conformity with the Mass Building Code. That's all you need to do. And as long as you have a G3 license or any other license that is accepted, you sign it, send it in, nobody watches, they stick it in the file, right? Same thing that we found on that file when that girl fell. The guy had one in the file, but it was 1985. So the key right now is the questionnaire. What's the cure for it all? The cure for it all is that everybody has the same form they have to fill out. Lowell has one of these. And basically, it's in your packet. If you want to look inside your piece, we gave out 3. We gave out Lowell's copy of what they want. It's questions covering every component. Tell me about the treads, is there any internal rust? Tell me about the rails, is there any internal rust? Tell me about the cement in the wall, is there any spalling? This is a specific question. Do you have a ladder or do you have a cantilever to the ground? Do you have full stairs to the ground? So it's nothing but a simple 25. So with that, we also gave you a blank of Lowell's, and it says your city here. So if you want to walk out of here with your version, make a bunch of copies of your city here and just pen in, for now, your city's name. And you have a confidence test. And so who's going to sign that? A structural engineer, a registered architect, and if you accept them, the G3 people, they've proven to you that they know how to inspect the fire escape and that they're not going to sign off on their own work, then you'll allow, because you have that choice. All right? But you have something ready to go. You gave them an award and said, hey, good job. We would have given it to you sooner, but COVID came into play, and it's hard for us to praise anybody, but this is it. It's just 25 questions that we ask, and certain cities, they basically create their own questionnaire based on the questions. This is a legal document. As an engineer, as an architect, or as a G3 person, if I lie on this document, I'm held now. Because it doesn't ask for an opinion, it asks for a fact. I said I factually looked at this tread and there is no rust in it and it's good to go. So if I'm going to just give your city an opinion, answer these 25 questions truthfully and sign your name. This will go to court. The opinion affidavit that Boston uses and other cities use because it's on the state website. So a lot of cities have just basically taken the Boston certificate, wiped out their name and put their name. But there's nothing holding anybody responsible because it's all an opinion, and an opinion is that day, because 3 years later when somebody gets hurt, I don't know what happened to that fire escape since the day I looked at it. If there was something wrong, I would have notified you. I'm held to nothing. But you make me sign this document, I'm held to something. And by the way, a lot of these G3 guys, which I'm a holder, you're supposed to have insurance. If I'm going to sign, I'm supposed to have engineering insurance to say you're inspecting other people's work. And a lot of these guys that do the work also sign off on their own work. So you should have G3 people, if they fix the fire escape, okay, for example in Boston, they cannot sign off. You say, hey, go get your architect or your engineer to sign off on your own work. right? But if all of a sudden, can they inspect somebody else's work? Sure, so somebody can inspect somebody else's work because somebody else did the work and this other G3 guy. But I think you should revamp your G3 to make it a G3-F. Come in for the training class, I'll actually teach it free and help you get that under control so that those with G3s understand there's a lot of liability when you sign that because the city takes no liability. You went out and got a professional to look at it, okay? So Lowell is the copycat. Congratulations, you got an award today, guys. So simple stuff, simple questions. And again, as you can see, it's all yes, no, not applicable. I don't know, do you guys also do the 1 year?
No.
All right, the 1 year was suggested to them. Now Tacoma and Portland, let me tell you what the 1 year is. It'll reinforce the 5. The 1 year is just 3 questions that a building engineer, the owner, can sign this thing, but he basically says the following. Bolts and supports are not damaged or rusted, right? It's just an eyeball, he's gonna say yes anyway, right? Paint is in good condition, which means what? Fire escape must be structurally sound, must be kept painted. Otherwise, I'll fail your fire escape just because you didn't paint it. Because if you don't paint it, then this becomes, you allowing water to get into a connection. That's what paint is. Now, if I have a fire escape that I have refurbished, and I put silicone in all the connections, water's trying to get in there, so I walk in and say, just give it a quick paint job. He can do that himself. Otherwise, you let paint go, that's what allows cracks, and that's when this is happening. What cracks paint? Heat and cold. Does this to treads and railings and everything, okay? So I recommend this to be, because it's easy, anybody can sign it. Yes, go ahead.
So it's required in 1 year by the building management or owner of the building.
No, this is almost like an ordinance, but go ahead.
But basically, you do the 5 year.
Yeah.
You accomplish that with the owner or the building manager. You let them know, form as well. But they're supposed to go out every year, verify there's no imperfections or damages that are not going to be ice falling off the roof or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's all I meant at that point.
Sure.
Try to stick to the 5 year when you're forming it with their.
But, so if you want to make it as part of your ordinance, I'm telling you, LA pushes the 1 year. Oakland and San Francisco push the 1 year as well as the 5. This document here belongs to the owners to make sure that they're, so if you have a 1 year of anything, if you do 1 year inspections on commercial buildings, for example, this is part of it. They signed this, they don't have to hire an engineer. This is just them attesting that they looked at it at least every year. That's all this is. This is just a great thing to basically force the owners to take a peek, sign it. If they have to report to you every year for some reason, make this one, just make this a piggyback to it. Okay? All right. So this is the confidence test we gave them, and Chris McWhite took all these questions, just took it to the next level. Same questions for 25. Here's other cities that have done this. This is Portland. We've taught many. Look at this now. Again, yes, no's. This is a liability document. Most engineers who are so used to selling paper will not sign this document. Another, we did Seattle. We gave them a confidence test. Again, most engineers will not sign it. So what happens now when you get one of these letters on their letterhead from an engineer? Great, you keep that and you stick that in, because he's already telling you that it's his opinion that that fire escape is good. Then you send him a copy of your 25-point questionnaire and say, thank you for your first copy. Now we know you exist and you're doing buildings in my city. We'll put that in the file. Now fill out this. And they'll probably call you up and say, I'm not going to sign this. See, why not? Because it's too much liability here. So I got liability in the file already with your name on it. What are you talking about? Oh, no. He's going to give you some banana story. He says, oh, so what you gave me is a false document? Because he already gave it to you. They already sent it in. And your job is to say, now fill this out, otherwise go back and inspect the fire escape correctly. He goes, well, I'm going to have to charge the guy more money. Then what were you selling? Were you selling your experience and your inspection technique, or were you selling paper? So this is how you're going to catch the paper. Multiple cities have created confidence tests off of this. So it's our system to do 25 questions. It's their system to do. This is LA, Reg 4. Every year you must do this examination. But they focus mainly on the ladders down below, the staircases down below, that drop. They have the accordion ladders out there. But there's no 5-year rule in LA. But Los Angeles and, I'm sorry, San Francisco and Oakland are the leaders in the nation. This is what a tag looks like running down an alleyway in the middle of the night to a fireman. 10 feet above, more or less, permanently affixed, has the owner, the date of inspection, the date of re-inspection. It's white. So firemen can clearly use this fire escape themselves, because that's the signal to them that things are all right. So imagine every fire escape in Massachusetts having a tag. Well, it's required that every fire protection equipment, and this is what a fire escape is, and LA treats it that way. I'm a fire protection specialist. I have a fire escape, my title is, in Reg 4, I'm an assemblies tester, right? But they require and this is in Seattle, but it's what we call a fire protection equipment. All fire protection equipment in fire code must have a tag. Fire extinguishers, lights, everything. So guys, this is not for you, but you'll use it as you're going down the street looking at every fire escape. Some of them are yellow, some of them are white, and any red ones you already know about, because that guy has got people, he's got a fire watcher, he's got something going on to protect the people inside. Okay? Yes? Yeah, it's a means of egress. All exterior steel or wooden stairways. So a spiral usually comes in because you have no room to put in a traditional fire escape stair. Some have come in, regardless of that, you have plenty of room, but they got away with a spiral. So it's pre-existing non-conforming, and we treat it just like a fire escape. But the law doesn't allow a spiral staircase to be a means of egress if you have plenty of room to put a traditional fire escape in. It's got to be approved by the building official for a spiral to kick in some little corner. As a matter of fact, you can even allow a ladder, even though they're not allowed, under special conditions, because there's just nothing else will fit in there. It'll be a ladder. But there's certain approvals you have to go through to get to that point, okay? All right, this is, by the way, this is how big the tags are supposed to be in Seattle. 19 inches wide, 11 inches tall. That's a big baby. But as you can see, the fire escape has no deficiency. The color is the key. So if it's white, firemen can use it. If it's yellow, it's under control, and it's going to be done in 90 days, no more. 30 is the average. 60 is the I need a little bit more time. But if you're holding a yellow, at least it's functional. Step one on any repair company coming in is to make it functional for their men as well as the tenants. Certifiable means every connection there needs to remove all the rust and then rebolt it with a new bolt. That's certification. Functional is, with no welds, is I took the bolt out and I put a new bolt in. So the tags that we have, 8.5 by 11, they can be paper or they can be metal, and they're usually covered with plastic. And then again, attached 7 to 10 feet above ground, visible to the fire department, also visible to the owner and the tenants. This is what Portland shows, just a tag that says when it was inspected. 2016, so you do the math in your head, 5 years later, but when 5 years later? What month was it 5 years later? So these are on average. Who inspects fire escapes? The code is very clear. Engineers, architect, design professionals, that's what it says in your document. Design professional, or others acceptable. Some people believe that you guys are inspecting fire escapes, because you guys go there and tell them, hey, get that tread fixed. So guess what kind of calls are made? Hey, I need to fix one tread, how much? I said, no, you have to do a full inspection, there's a whole process. No, thank you very much. And they're calling the witch doctors. By the way, do witch doctors charge to visit your site? Nope. Engineers go out for free. Architects go out for free. G3 guys that are inspecting fire escapes, they go out for free? No. So who goes out for free? And introduces the welding solution. They always introduce the welding solution. I get this buttoned up. Who's going to watch them? No one. Who's going to sign off on their own work? How much can you make a day? $3,000 a day. Not too bad. You go there yourself or you send your lackeys? Lackeys will for $300 a day. And that's for both. They know how to weld. They have a fire watch. They care what they weld. It's 100 years of proof right there. That's that. The only thing I did was add welding witch doctor more to it, but there's a lot of originality right there, and you guys got to see what's out there. So we're going to allow welding guys to touch any of your fire escapes in your city? Yes or no? Right? Save a fireman, save a tenant. Do not allow welding. 98% of all the fire escapes ever built have a rivet or a bolt that's square. And if you start seeing some hex heads, it means what? They changed it, which is great. Did they change it correctly? Some, a majority of them are yes. A majority of them are no. They changed the bolt. Do they remove the internal rust? That's why the 25-point questionnaire, you catch them doing it wrong once in your city, will they ever do any work in your city again? The city, it's a document. They just lie to you on a piece of paper, whether it be an engineer, an architect, or a G3 guy. There's no, do you understand there's only 2 licenses in the whole country? There's a G3 license, and I use this G3 license and my construction supervisor's license, but my G3 license is I get to sign off on the fire escapes. It's right in your Boston thing. Fire escape installer, right, and an engineer. That's the 2 stamps you get. So, you think there's a lot of engineer work in Boston? Engineers want $500, $750, $1,000 to go look at these things. These welding guys are selling paper for how much? $100, $200, $300. This makes a lot of money, guys. But it also buries a lot of people. And we have proof that it buries people because it took 2 of your finest. Who else? Fire escape inspectors. Yep, G3 license is the only one out of the East Coast. The only other license in the country is Reg 4. There's no national licensing. Okay? I got a couple of my students in here that this is a mandatory class they got to take. Why? Because they want to inspect fire escapes and get the respect of the city officials. So if the city official questions them, you know, of what they've learned here, they can answer the questions. Wood or steel. Because it's right in the code. It's others. So, and this is the technical assistance, meaning that, and I have the opinion here that says, it has to be prepared by a qualified engineer, a specialist, that's a G3, laboratory or fire safety specialty organization, like the National Fire Escape Association, right? And then they create a report and they send it. So then the fire code official is authorized to require design submittals to be prepared and bear the stamp of a registered structural engineer. So if you get somebody that is an architect and you don't like what he's doing, because this is way out of his league, or a G3 guy that comes in and tries to tell you that, you know, you can still have that countersigned by a structural engineer. So if you don't like what you're seeing, you can either order the load test on it or ask for that person to go get an engineer to say, yeah, this guy's a good guy. It says right there. So this is the others acceptable to the building official. You get the final call, not the person with a license says, I can do this. The only ones that have the right to do it is design professionals, structural engineers, and registered architects. Let's hit the pre-existing lawfully non-conforming. First of all, everybody knows, half the code, no new fire escapes. True statement? On new construction. But on old buildings, I can build fire escapes till the cows come home. So remember this, the code says no new fire escapes. If I dig a hole in the ground, and I'm going to put up a brand new building, and I want to put a fire escape on the outside, the law says no. But if I have a church, a factory, a barn, and I'm making a 2-family out of it, guess what I can build till the cows come home? A second means of egress, outside. And I have to worry about boundaries. I don't have to worry about setbacks because a fire escape is not a second means of egress. It's a second means of egress, but only for that specific use. Now when it goes up to whatever, that second floor, that third floor, whatever you're converting, guess what I can come out of? A window, unless the building inspector says what? I want a door. Well, he's kind of touching egress. Yes, you have a question? Perfect, and the best room to have that door? What's the best room to have that door? No, you take it out the window and you put in a door. What's the best room? Bedroom. Like, no, I want it in my kitchen. Like, first of all, it has to be furthest away from the first entrance. Your entrance is over there. I'd like to have the fire escape over here. Some people try to put the fire escape. There's my front door. There's my fire escape. Sometimes you have no choice, but very rarely you have no choice. So the fire escape is there. Put the fire escape over there. I mean, say the main entrance is there. You put the fire escape on the back. So, lawfully non-conforming. What is this? I get there and I certify a fire escape as the day it was built. So if I get there and I'm certifying this fire escape, there's no code upgrade. There's nothing unless you have a major change inside the building. You do a full gut. Sometimes it triggers the fire escape situation. Sometimes fire escapes are not allowed to be on schools. You know, that a building turns into a school, you need to augment it. It can't be a 2-foot, it can't be 8 and 8 rise and run, it has to be 7-11. But a lot of times I have to certify this as of the day it was built. So the only thing I can enforce as a change is going to be the bolts, because you have square head bolts, you got rust inside the connection, but the 36-inch rails stay. I don't go to 42. The 6 to 8 inch spacing on the bars stay, because I'm certifying it as of the day of its installation. It's voluntary if they want to move their railings from 36 to 42. Okay? So that's what pre-existing lawfully non-conforming. You have some crazy stuff, and some of it goes over a roof with no catwalk. You're missing a catwalk on your roof. When you did your roof, you took something away because you come out over there, but you have the ladder to the ground is over there. Here's another one that you guys have that's constant. Ladders that are 9 feet high for grandma and little Joey to jump. And that's because the code says, back in the day, that you can build a complete fire escape with a ladder, and then at 9 feet you can continue to a public way with a drop ladder, with a cantilever. So everybody read the code back there and said, nope, it says I can stop at 9 feet. So every time we have an inspection of any kind, and the ladder is a jump, we say it's incomplete. Just needs the same ladder addressed to it. They say, no, people are breaking in. Then you do a fold-out ladder. You guys ever see a fold-out ladder? It looks like a drain pipe when it's tied to itself. But when you release it from above, and only above, it opens up into an 18-inch ladder, 12-inch runs. So pre-existing non-conforming, you get it all the time. Some crazy stuff. I got ladders going right to the window. Is that allowed? No. You have to have a platform that you step out the window, get yourself ready, then you attack the ladder. So whenever I see ladders that are incomplete or ladders straight to a window, I got ladders showing up from Home Depot in the middle of the night. Is an aluminum ladder allowed? The law is very clear. You can't have anything that's combustible. Is aluminum combustible? Then it's allowed, right? We got a lot of aluminum fire escapes in Lowell. We got them down in Fall River, New Bedford, because the guy down there was making a ton of aluminum fire escapes. The only thing I always have a problem with whenever I run across this aluminum fire escapes, first of all, they're not built 100% to code in the day they put it in. But you know what the through bolt looks like? And I have evidence. I've videotaped this. A lot of them have a 1/4 inch through bolt with a butterfly inside grabbing the sheathing. It's this. The law says it has to be 5/8 or 3/4. And I can show you. You can look at it next time when you see it. It's a little screw head. And what I found inside, because I had to take one down and open up what happened, it's a butterfly. You know the kind you use in sheetrock? A toggle bolt. Let's keep going. Right now, we started at 9, so you guys want to take a 5 just to go get some more coffee, water? If anybody wants to come and talk about Rusty, this is a great time to do it. This many guys will make it 10. 10 minutes, make some phone calls.
My boobs get any
Only
bigger,
been
we're
ringing
calling
off the
busty.
hook. It's all kinds of violations.
We'll have a whole heck of a lot of fire escapes.
They sit in my seat.
On that building with the fire was.
Yeah.
She saw them the other day. Okay.
We had one in Chelmsford Town Hall, and when they were building a new fire station next door and attaching it by means of I fought tooth and nail to get this new fire escape. To the point where I said, I'm not going to find a sign off the permit. Yeah, they still have much. So they agreed, the town agreed to get it refurbished. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, it's just it was, so the third floor of the town hall, you got the regular stairway down, fire escape is 20 feet away from it, it's not like it's sort of right there, so. You win some, you lose some.
Mostly lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very serious about this, but, you know, I need my job.
So when did you get the hip?
2 weeks ago tomorrow. 4th. It's worse. I mean, I had my knee replaced and I had back surgery. And this is worse. I don't know why. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Because you're a pussy.
That's exactly why.
I mean, if I didn't know.
Maybe because I was younger on the other two. I don't know. Diane? How'd you do on Super Bowl night? Did you come in Monday? Well, I mean, were you functional? Were you functional?
Not really.
He's not functional now.
I was open bar. I really have to fucking money.
I'm not, hey, I'm not judging. I'm just asking. I'm not judging.
Where did you go?
Tewksbury Country Club. I'm in a pool over there. It's, you know, they have the food and the open bar. And it's included with your square.
Yeah, when anything,
I won $1,000.
You always win for the
always. Always. How much was the square? 500?